What's up, guys? Chris Basil Builds coming at you 3/4 of the way into a project as usual. Wanted to talk about a couple things. You guys know me, I love talking. So this project is a perfect example of something you think you're getting yourself into, and something snowballing a little bit more out of your control than you would appreciate. So this car, I don't think I filmed an introduction video on it or have talked about it yet. I haven't really done many videos lately. This is a 2020 Chevy Spark. It is a simple machine. It is a good gas mileage car. It is the newest car we own. This car was purchased at IAA Auctions, Insurance Auto Auctions here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They are nationwide, worldwide, don't know. They sell a lot of places, I know that, and they've got a yard in my town. I bought this car, front end collision. I'll put some pictures around here, show you guys what this thing looked like when I got it. It was hitting the front right here, core support, pushed back into AC line. The only damage you can still see is the O2 sensor is kind of mushed. I've already replaced everything. This being a 2020 made it a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be to get all the parts. So, I mean, I know you guys really care a lot about Chevy Sparks. I'm sure you do. The first generation Chevy Spark that came to America was like 2013 to 2017. This is the second generation. Most notably differences, I think, are it's got these little strakes on the body. It's less bubbly looking, It's got this cool body line there. Give it a little bit of sportish. I believe the older ones' taillights don't stick out either. I think they're like flush. This is a terrible depiction of what this car looks like. I'm going to show you guys a lot more once it's done. But here's where I screwed up, and this is the point of this video. So I bought this car, and I said, I can fix that. I went and looked at it at the lot. I went and looked at it at the yard. I saw it in person. I hopped in it. I started it up. It was the only car of 5 or 6 I was looking at IAA that started. I know they do the run and drive thing. I know they tell you it will or won't. I get it. But I've been burned buying cars before at auctions that are supposedly run and drive, and then you get it and the engine has a rod knock. So I like to hear it myself, see it myself before I get like way into it. So here's a few things that I didn't think about when I bought this car that really made this experience less of a huge win and more of a kind of pain in my butt. So car was run and drive. I bought it for $1,800 something hammer price, and I walked out of the lot with it for $2,400. So the fees, first thing I want to talk about. The fees are a lot. On a cheap car, the fees are a lot. The more expensive car you buy, usually the more linear, I guess you will say, the fees are to what the value is. So that's something to keep in mind if you guys are wanting to like buy your first wrecked car and fix it. This isn't my first. It's not even my first auction. I've been through a few different auction companies at this point, but this car to me looked like cool, 60,000 miles, decent. The rest of the car is in good shape. It's clean on the inside. Of course, I cleaned it out. It did have. Oh, does this car not have interior lights? It's only got one interior light. So yeah, great quality there, fellas. But it came with carpet floor mats, rubber floor mats. The seats aren't all stained up. You can't tell because my camera work is as great as usual. It does have Apple CarPlay. It's got backup camera, a bunch of stuff that requested by my fiance. So she's going to be driving this car daily as her car to go to work, and she drives a lot for work. So we used to have a 2008 Toyota Prius that was her daily. She also has a 2008 Toyota 4Runner that is her car that she likes. She doesn't like driving that to work because it entails just putting a bunch of miles on it. So my thought was, I'm going to go find her the most affordable entry-level value car that I can buy newish with low miles, and that'll be a perfect little ripper for her to use at work. So I find 60,000 mile Chevy Spark, 45 miles per gallon. Cute. I showed it to her before I bought it. She likes the little plum color. I believe this color is called passion fruit. Just in case if you want to paint your Honda Ruckus this color or something. So anyways, some things that I overlooked. I went and looked at the car. I saw core support smashed into here. Headlight missing. O2 sensor smushed. You know, some wiring down here that you can just vaguely see. These colored wires right there. I've already repaired them, but I just haven't put the loom back on. Yeah, smushed wiring harness. I just saw yesterday it's got a dink in the oil pan. Teeny tiny, little dink. No big deal. It's fine. Radiator, AC condenser, transmission cooler lines that you can't see, but they're down there. They go from there to there. All that stuff was damaged. So I got lucky on a lot of things. You know, airbox was okay. The little tube and the silencer jobber are okay. This headlight was fine. This is a new headlight. I was luckily able to find a few parts at the salvage. So this is why I said the new car thing, this is where it bit me. I didn't think, being this is a Chevy Spark, and I saw one or two of these go through the auction every single time I watched. Something I noticed though, after watching a couple of weeks, a lot of the other ones didn't sell. I'm not saying I got a bad deal. This car books for $13,000. So, I mean, I'm fine on money or whatever. I'm not worried about that part. What I'm trying to say is this is the second generation of a car that's only been out. Well, I mean, it's been out a few years now. 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 6 years, you know, not like it's brand new. I mean, this thing's only 3 years old, but it's 5 years into the model run is what I'm trying to say. So you wouldn't think it'd be that hard to find the parts. So like the bumper, for example, I got a bumper kit minus fog lights because I got lucky and my original bumper, really and truly the original bumper wasn't that bad, but I'm not like a plastic fixer kind of guy. So the original fog lights are still good, which are also the turn signals. The whole bumper kit with fog lights was like $600. And the bumper, grill, inserts, all that, everything minus the emblem, the fog lights, and this bottom piece, which I think I'm gonna save this. I think it's still good enough to use. I haven't fit it on yet, but it should be okay. If not, whatever, I'll buy that piece, I don't care. That's irrelevant to what we're saying. The bumper was $450 shipped. Not terrible. You know, this is a cheap car, guys. I know y'all out there with like BMWs and Lexuses and stuff are like, $400 bumper's cheap. I get it. I know. This thing ain't a Maybach, okay? So $400 for the bumper. The core support was going to be about, they sell it in 3 pieces. Even though it's welded together, you have to buy it in 3 pieces, and then you have to spot weld it together, which I wasn't really super pumped to do. It's $250, $80, $80, $150 for the crash bar. So that's, you know, pushing $500. Well, over $500 probably with shipping. And AC condenser, super cheap, $45. Radiator, super cheap. I think it was $80. There is no oil cooler externally on this engine that I know of, but there is a transmission cooler, part of the radiator, automatic, the CVT in this one. AC, another lesson I learned. It is R1234, R1234YA, not 134A. It's a new type of Freon. I don't know if you guys know. There's a new type of Freon out there, and guess what? Your old gauges won't work with it. Guess what? Your old cans don't work with it. There's talk about you can mix and match and stuff. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I'm not into it. All I'm telling you is that I was hoping I could charge this AC back up by myself, and I'm going to be paying a shop to do that. So that sucks. Definitely an additional cost, as well as I have been informed by my friend that's got a shop that sells it that it's like 4 times as expensive as 134. So that's a bummer. So another initial extra cost I didn't expect. Headlight, pretty reasonable. I think it was like 150. The hood was a doozy. Hood, I think, was $600, $650 after shipping. Shipping was a lot. It was like $100 or something like that. So it was like, I think all in all, it was like close to 700 for the hood. This hood's not, I mean, I know it's up, but it's not that big. Little hood. And you know, you ship a hood to your house and tell me how it works out for you, but I got this one in with a bunch of damage. This back corner was folded in. I admittedly messed it up worse than it was, but it was folded back so far right here. I did these. I'll take credit for the dents, okay? I did that. This, well, I guess I did all of it, but this was folded to here. So when you try to pick the hood up, it would catch the fender. That sucked. The fender, I think, was $80. Not terrible. Fender wasn't too bad. All the inside shields are good, surprisingly. All the under shield stuff, it's really only that one. It was good, usable. Like I said, this headlight was good. I did catch a lick at the salvage, though. There was a 2020 Spark at my local LKQ, and I went to go look at it, trying to see if they had any of the core support, crash bar, stuff like that, because I saw in the pictures it was hit like back. It was hit over on this side, but it was past the hood. It was like more like fender door, back door. It wasn't hit in the front. And I went out there, and this thing was stripped. It had no engine, no transmission, no front clip at all. But something you guys can't really see, but was another huge savings that I figured out. These frame extension pieces that you can see I didn't paint very good. The part, you know, with the crinkle in it. This part. Those were both pretty mangled. I thought maybe I could straighten them. Not like, they weren't crunched in, I guess we'll say. The thing was only hit right here. Everything over here was fine. This, all the tabs and stuff where it mounts to the crash bar were all like pulled out. So what I ended up doing was the frame extension pieces were the only good pieces left on that salvage car that I saw. So I said, okay, cool. I'm going to go home and figure out what type, what bolts, what size tools I need. Because if I'm going to LKQ, I don't want to sit there with like my bag of tools in 104-degree heat trying to dilly-dally around figuring out how to take something apart. I'm going to take it apart at home first, figure it out exactly, know exactly what tools to take. I'm going to bring 3 tools in my hand, no cart, and I'm going to roll out there and get what I want. That's how I do salvage yards. Anyways, came here, took mine off, figured it out, went back to LKQ, and I thought to myself, I wonder, when someone pulled the engine and everything out of this thing, you know how they are. They go through every night after everybody leaves and they sweep all the parts out of the walkways, right? So someone would take this thing all apart and they left everything they didn't want. I bet you they're in the car next to it. So sure enough, I walk right next door to the Ford Fusion or whatever that was sitting next to this. And lo and behold, a perfectly good core support, a perfectly good crash bar in black. I painted these. Credit where credit's due. I know the paint doesn't look very good, so whatever kind of credit you want to give me, I'll take, I guess. So I was able to save $700 of money that I really didn't think was going to cost that much at the salvage. So crash bars, 180 a piece, 185 a piece. Crash bar, 150. The core support tie bars, I think they're called, were $80 a piece. Core support was 140. So we got 300, 400, 478, and we've got like $800 in the structure. So we scored big time. I got all this stuff from LKQ. You wouldn't know unless I showed you, for $110, I think. So killer find. Even still though, guys, I have $2,000 in parts fixing this car. So We buy the car for $1,800, $2,450. We spend $2,000 on fixing it. And this is just, I mean, this is where we're at, guys. So everything's here. It runs. Transmission cooler lines are in. I had to do a transmission service, of course, because I drained some transmission fluid out when I put the new lines on. And the new radiator obviously had no fluid in it. So we had to buy we had to buy the car, the parts, coolant, trans fluid, bunch of stupid OEM parts that cost like $200 or so for, like, I'm talking clips and stuff, screws. The bumper, a couple of salvage parts that I super scored on. And I still have to get this thing painted. Also, it's a 2020. So guess what? Tagging it wasn't real cheap either. So we have like $500 almost in registration on this car. Which, luckily, I've already got the rebuilt title status. So that's legit. Happy there. So no messing around with a salvage title. It's already rebuilt. So it's already got, you know, insurance status and all that. This thing's already registered, insured. It's got a tag on the back. I'm not showing it to you, but it's got one. And battery's charged. It's ready to go. So only things left I have to do, obviously, are painting it and doing the final assembly. So since I didn't bring you guys along for any of this journey other than where we're at right now, which, again, I'm going to, back in the early part of the video, I'm going to include some pictures of what it looked like, maybe some screenshots from eBay or something like that, show you guys the parts I bought. I bought a lot of parts on eBay Motors, not sponsored, obviously. Nobody watches these videos. I've got 100 or 350 subscribers, but, you know, just to get there with it. So I thought I was going to buy the car for $2,000. I thought I was going to spend $1,000 on fixing it, and we'd be in this thing for $3,000, and I'd be way saving. But here's where we're actually at. We're closer to, and I'll do a price breakdown probably at the end, but we're like $4,000 into the car unpainted. I got to take it to my body shop buddy to fix some of this damage. The hood's got some ugliness to it that I need to get fixed. It was all squished in the box, and then that back corner was all folded in. Of course, they had no want at all to talk to me about warranty, so pretty much effed in the A on that deal. But, you know, this is nothing a little Bondo and stuff can't fix, a little smoothing out. This line and this one was really not near as bad. It fits up pretty good, so I'm not going to, like, cry wolf about it too bad. But, and to be fair, this was the only company on the internet that even had this hood in stock. You couldn't even find it on eBay Motors. So I ordered one on eBay Motors, but it came back and said, nope, sorry, we're out of stock. So there's that. So anyways, I don't know how much the paint's going to cost, but I do know I tried to go to a paint shop I've used before that's pretty reasonable on price, and they quoted me $3,000 to paint that, and that. And I said, okay, sounds good. And casually walked out and pulled my finger out of my butt, because that ain't gonna freaking happen. I ain't paying no $3,000 to get 3 panels painted on a car. You gotta be kidding me. So I went and talked to a buddy of mine. He's predominantly a custom motorcycle painter. He does really awesome work, but he doesn't really like to work on cars. I mean, he's obviously a collision guy, you know, by background, but his thing is not really these days to be working on cars. So luckily he's got a new paint booth. He's ready to roll. He's down to do this because this car is little. So that's super win to me. So I'm bringing it to paint tomorrow. So kind of today I'm doing a little bit of wrap up on, basically I'm bringing it to him fit up, and I'm going to let them work their magic on smoothing my lines out. You know, I'll pat myself on the back. I did pretty okay with the lines. I did pretty okay with the angles, you know. You can't, I mean, obviously it's not painted, so you can't tell that close. You know, pretty good. This car wasn't perfect anyway, so, you know, I don't know if you guys know, this car was made by Daewoo in India or something. But, you know, gaps are pretty good. Not bad. Not bad for a mechanic reassembling a wrecked car in his garage. That's all I'm saying. So, and obviously the have to take the fender off and paint it, so I probably did all that enough for nothing, but So we're gonna be, instead of like what I thought, like $3,000 or $4,000 into this car, we're gonna be like $7,000 probably. I imagine the paint job's still gonna be $1,000 probably. So, yeah, $7,000 into a car, book value for 13, but with a rebuilt title, probably really only worth like 10, maybe 9. So this turned out to be a lot more money invested and a lot more work than I thought for what to me seemed like a no-brainer deal. So that kind of bummed me out a little bit because really I was hoping this was going to be like a 1-week flip, fix it up, get my wife in it, you know, ready to roll and get her happy, because as soon as I bought this, I sold the Prius. And so now she's been just guzzling gas in her 4Runner for a couple weeks, and I don't think she's super happy about that. And this thing still has no AC, unpainted. We've never driven it. She's never even seen it outside of the garage at this point yet. So she's losing a little hope in it. Even though, look at 3 weeks doing this on the side, it's not really that bad. And I don't mean like I'm putting in hours a day. Like I haven't touched it all week. I don't think I've touched it since last week. Other than popping the hood before I started this video, I don't think I've even really touched the darn thing. So tonight this evening I got to do a little bit more work. I did like a rig up hood cable release. I got to hook the real hood cable release back up. There's some wiring down under here, under the core support, I need to button up that I didn't before. And boy, I hope I can do that now that I have all these parts in there. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, this harness has to snap up under the core support. I'm sure everything will go back together just fine. I'm not worried about it. Everything popped apart real easy. That's the nice thing about working on a new car. But I think the lesson I learned was maybe just buy a car it's a couple years older, maybe that you don't like as much, or buy something a little bit more. Not saying this car is not common, but one, make sure there's a bunch of them at the salvage that are the right color is where I'm going. Since I'm not a painter. You know, I did my little core support touch up with some O'Reilly's color match, but I just did that on that to make it easier for everybody, so that way I could bring an assembled car to the shop. I'm not going to do the outside. It's not going to look that good if I do it. So I'm hoping, what I think I'm going to do is once the car is done, I'm going to put her in it. I'm going to like detail the wheels, you know, repaint those black, and then this thing's got perfect tires on it. I'll do an oil change on it, clean it up real nice. I'm going to let her start ripping it. And then I'm going to list it for like 11.5 and just see what happens. See if someone will buy it. And if they will, I'm going to go back and buy another car, maybe for like $4,000 or $5,000 instead of 1,800, that I actually get for like 5,500 instead of 1,800 or 2,500, if that makes sense the way the pricing scale goes with the auction. And end up with something a little nicer than a 2020 crank window, no options LS Spark, to say like I don't know, something. We're probably going to get out of the 40 mile per gallon range, because really there's not many options that aren't hybrids at that level, or that aren't so small. I know you guys probably don't know how big my garage is. It's not very big. There's never been a full car in here with this much space. So that's pretty funny. But my whole thought is this is kind of a learning experience for me on maybe I should consult the body shop before I start doing my own repairs, A, instead of just thinking I can do it all myself. B, consulting all of the parts, come up with a complete parts list, including I mean, you're not going to know everything till you see it. That's obvious. But try and get a more well-rounded idea of how many parts and how much they're going to cost in total before you make the call. Because if I'd known this hood was going to be like $700 or $800, and I'd known that all the structure stuff that I knew was bad because I looked at the car was going to cost that much, I probably wouldn't have bought this car. Even though I still don't think it was a bad deal, and I still think we're going to end up ahead, and my fiance still thinks it's cute, which is cool. Which is really the biggest concern for me at this point on this. is that I don't care that it costs money or whatever. I want her to be happy with it, because she kept saying she was happy with the Prius, and then I knew she wasn't. So moral of the story is, guys, try to be as calculated as you can. I know I harp about this on like every video I make, but just, you know, try and be calculated with what you're doing. Don't waste your money. Don't take too big of risks. Don't take risks don't take a risk that you're scared will bite you in the butt. Don't take a risk that will keep you from being able to pay your rent. Don't take a risk that is more money than you're comfortable spending. Just don't do it. No, times are tight, guys. I'm not out here making money. I promise you. I'm not. I'm scraping. That's all I'm doing. I'm just doing whatever I can, trying to have some fun, trying to do some nice stuff for my family. And that's what this whole thing is, you know. And you guys might laugh at me and say, well, you're an idiot. Your wife's going to leave you for buying her this car. She thinks it's cute. I'm telling you. She told me. And she knows. She's going to be in something way nicer than this later on. It's just, this is still better than the 08 Prius, even though it's less options. This is still better than the 500,000 mile Honda she had when we met. So we leveling up one way or another. Someone bought this car brand new. Keep that in mind. May not be you. Somebody did. So anyways, just wanted to kind of do a talk about the car video. Just want to come in here and do an update with you guys. And I wanted to discuss some ups, downs, left, rights with this current project we're working on. Project, she calls it Grimace. Project Grimace. So, as always, guys, if you've made it this far in the video, if you like what I got going on here, please consider subscribing. If you enjoy this video at all or think I'm less than too annoying to listen to, consider giving me a like. If you'd like to share this video to your friends to make fun of me on the internet, feel free and share. But as always, whatever you want to do, thanks for doing it. Thanks for being here. I think we're up to like 350 subscribers, so definitely better than none. And definitely nowhere near monetizing anything, but that's not what we're here to do. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being friendly. Thanks for leaving comments. And yeah, like it. Maybe I'll do a live video on the auction sometime soon, the next time I'm buying something. Show you guys a little bit about how it goes. And keep up. I promise someday I'm going to do like a more fun project. I got a bunch of stuff in the pipeworks, you know. I mean, if you do stuff like I do, you always got some stuff sitting around that needs some work done to it, and we're going to get to it. So I got some Sea-Doos that need fixed. I've been doing a bunch of Sea-Doo work professionally, but not any personal. I sold all my two-strokers at the beginning of the season, and I have acquired a few new supercharged four-strokes, not new, old, like 20-year-old ones. And they both need a lot of work, so I'm going to get to them pretty soon for me. So hopefully next season, me and the wifey got some sick little 70-mile-an-hour-ers to go rip around on Grand Lake, but we'll get to that when we get to it. I'm going to work on my garage organization again after this car, because I did a bunch of work to it a couple months ago and then just instantly unworkflowed it, and so I need to just keep working on making it better. So yeah, thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Next time you see this dude, she'll be painted. Thanks.